Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. Welcome back to Sportsology, a mix of daily fantasy sports and business technology. As always, I am your host, Ryan. Hope everybody had a great night last night. If you played a little DFS, kind of a crazy night out there with Kemba Walker and the boys really tearing it up. Some of the picks I talked about yesterday were Kemba, Batum, D'Angelo Russell, and Jordan Clarkson. All of them went off last night. Kemba was a big part of a lot of the winning lineups. And D'Angelo Russell was the play of the night. I believe he put up 58.75 DraftKings points off of the salary of, I believe, 5,800, which comes out to about 10 times value. That's a huge night. I had him in all my lineups. Problem was I also had Lou Williams, who had an injury, so that kind of pulled you back for the evening. But anyway, if you might be new to the show, what we do on Sportsology is I talk about my two areas of expertise. During the day, I'm a technology solutions specialist for a company called Enterprise Systems Group out of Little Chute, Wisconsin. Then at nighttime, I turn to my favorite and pretty much only hobby at this point, and that is daily fantasy sports. I run some groups where I advise people how to make picks and things like that, and it's my favorite hobby. It's my most enjoyable thing to do outside of hanging out with my children, of course. Anyway, let's get into today's technology. And what I want to talk about today is digital displays. And for a while, for an extended period of time, the only choice out there were smart boards. A lot of you watching this are probably familiar with them. Anybody in the education world is definitely familiar with them, as we would have seen them in lots of schools. You don't just see them in just schools, though. I've seen them in businesses. I have clients who currently are using them and will continue to use them until they run out. That's no longer the case, though, with them being the only type of digital display out there. They're coming out of the woodwork left and right. When I go to trade shows, specifically trade shows in the education world, there are just tons of different options out there for digital displays. The company we use is a company called InFocus, and they have two different products which are pretty similar, but they do have some differences, and that is going to be the Mondo Pad and the J Touch. Both Mondo Pad and J Touch come in a variety of sizes, and they both have a different variety of what they offer to you. A Mondo Pad is going to be a little bit more expensive, and it's essentially like a giant big screen television with the functionality of a tablet or a PC. It can be great in conference rooms. If you have a business and you need a conference room and you need a way to give presentations, it might be right for you. It might not, but it's definitely something worth taking a look at. On the flip side, the J Touch is going to be a little less expensive and won't have the same built-in processing system, but you run it off your PC and you can run the digital display that way. Both are fantastic products. Both have their places for people in different areas. And I would say both of them have a leg up on smartboards. The one area I think they really excel at over the smartboard is you don't need to change the light bulb. Those light bulbs on those smartboards are very, very expensive. And I've talked to different people who are in charge of taking care of those things. And that is probably the biggest pain in the rear end is having to account for the budget of having to replace those expensive light bulbs on a routinely basis. So that's our technology today. And let's dive into what we want to talk about for daily fantasy sports. Tonight's another big night in the NBA. Wednesday nights are typically very game heavy in the NBA, so there are a lot of options out there for you today. One game that you should look at targeting is going to be the Portland Trail Blazers at the Boston Celtics. Right now, these are two of the hottest teams in the NBA, and this is calling to be a very high scoring and a very close game. Not only do I think that, but Vegas agrees with me, calling this to be one of the higher scoring games of the night, and I believe the spread's only about 4 points, so it's calling for it to be a close game. One guy you're going to want to take a look at is Jared Sullinger of the Boston Celtics, who starts at center for them. He's got a price of $6,000, and a couple of reasons I like Sullinger. I mean, first off and foremost, I have a soft spot for him. He helped me win about $6,500 the other weekend. Of course, I'm happy with him. That being said, the Blazers have trouble against opposing big men, and Sullinger is a big man, so this is somebody that could give them fits. He's routinely hitting close to value, but he also offers you that big upside that you'd be looking for on a tournament play. Somebody who could give you 7 times value. Now, for somebody who might be new to this, when I talk value, you want to take a look at a person's price. Sullinger's priced at $6,000. In order for him to be an average play, he needs to get 5 times value, which comes out to about 30 points. In order for him to be a great play in a tournament, you need about 7 times value, which is 42 points, more than capable of doing that. You may also want to check out his teammate Amir Johnson and his counterpart Mason Plumlee, as the Boston Celtics also do a pretty poor job of defending opposing big men. Okay, and my second guy is going to be another player to focus on in this game, and we're going to look at Boston Celtics backup, the guy who kind of runs the show for the second unit, and that's Evan Turner for 5,300. We dove in and talked about value a little bit, and Evan Turner is a great cash game play because he's very consistent and always hits right around 5 times value. On a salary of 5,300, a 5 times value would be about 26 and a half points. If you just look at Evan's last 10 games, he has crossed that threshold 8 out of 10 times. One of those times he missed it by just a point, and he only had one bad game. But even in that bad game, he only cost you about 10 points, so he was still very, very playable. Overall, this guy is very consistent, and this is the type of player you want to target in your 50-50s, double ups, and head-to-heads. Anyways, that's what we got for today. If you're interested in upping your daily fantasy sports game, I run a couple of private groups and mailing lists with lineups, and you can get on there 3 different ways. I have a fee that I charge people. If you've never tried DraftKings, you can sign up through my affiliate link. Also, if you're watching this and you happen to be close to the Wisconsin area or have relatives in the Wisconsin area, if you put me in contact with somebody who works in the technology side of things or on the C-level side of things, I would be more than happy to include you on those mailing lists if it were to benefit me professionally like that would. Anything questions you have, just email me directly and we can talk about it that way. Besides that, have a great Wednesday and I'll talk to you soon.